Paul Mauro here. Welcome back to the Smart Financial Podcast that we affectionately call Nothing Good. Nothing Good Happens Last Minute. It's a planning podcast, and I'm continuing with my series on superstar grandparents, and I want to welcome Peter and Maureen McDermot to today's podcast. Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your time. The McDermotts have a great story. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about their backstory, and then we'll get deep into the details of grandparenting, which they seem to be really good at it. Maureen, ladies first. Let's do Maureen first. So Maureen, I think we met years ago. You were still working. Can you tell us about your work life a little bit?
I was. I worked for a public school, and I started off part-time there, and then I eventually went full-time. And I was there for about 22 years. I was in the superintendent's office, and it was a great job.
Did you work? So you didn't work when the kids were little, your own kids?
I always had a part-time job.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Of some sort or another.
And then when the kids were off doing their own
thing.
When
they got a little bit older, I started in Millis at the public school part-time, and then I eventually worked full-time.
And was your retirement from full-time work any bit timed with the arrival of any of these grandchildren?
I think, yes, my retirement was from my full-time work. Yeah, I worked I was there 22 years.
Madeline was born.
Yeah, when the oldest was born.
Okay.
I job shared. I asked them if I could, I was interested in job sharing. I wanted to work part-time, 3 days a week, and if I could job share the other two. And they said, yeah, they would do that. They'd make it work for me.
Did that come from the fact that, did your mom help you when you had kids?
Yes. Well, my mother worked full-time too, always. And my father retired before my mother. And my father used to take the kids off the bus and, and they'd help out. They both helped out as much as they could. But my mother worked until she was probably, about 80.
Whoa.
Full-time. Maybe a little
younger
maybe
than
a little
that,
less than that.
Something she loved. What did she do?
She worked at Sears Roebuck.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Sears Roebuck. We
Yeah.
remember them fondly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. She worked in the buying department originally in the one in Dedham.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fond members of Sears Roebuck. Pete, so tell me about how did you end up with HP Agilent? We were just talking before we started the podcast about the great history. Give me a little bit of history. I don't really know it.
I was in and out of various colleges early on, not knowing what I wanted to do. And at some point I had started dating Maureen, and my storyline is always that her father thought if this was getting serious, this gentleman needed a job. And so he was working for Hewlett-Packard at the time. It was the medical group up in Waltham, Massachusetts. And he told me, they're hiring. And so I started back in 1972 at Hewlett-Packard as a material handler in the stockroom, entry-level job, and worked my way up, through the ranks, through, some supervision early on. Not sure if this is too early to say it, but then we ended up, the company split. They were splitting off. Hewlett-Packard was going to stay focusing on computers and printers. That was their big business. And the original business, which was test and measurement, and then this medical group that I was part of and several other groups, were spun off to become a company called Agilent. So I had made a choice, and I had a choice because I was working for the corporate organization at that point.
So they gave you a choice, HP or Agilent?
Right, I did, because I was working for corporate. If you were working for the medical group, you had no choice. You were going to Agilent. If you were working for analytical, you went to Agilent. And if you were printers or computers, you went to Hewlett-Packard. I had decided to stay with, or go with the new company, Agilent, simply because of the people structure of it. The management style was what I grew up with the early days of Hewlett-Packard. And and I'm glad I made that choice. It turned out, it was good for me to go there. I still stayed with a corporate role for the remainder of my career. I retired in early 2019 after just 1 month shy of 47 years.
Wow. Okay. Well, you don't hear that very often.
No,
No.
yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's one of the reasons, in this series on grandparenting, I mean, it's one of the unique differences between the boomer generation. The three of us in this room are in the boomer generation. Our friend who's doing the technology is not in the boomer generation. But the employment life is so different. That's why I asked about it. Like in your case, Pete, when you retired, you had a bunch of grandkids already.
Yeah, the two,
Yeah,
right?
two,
Yeah. They were both born. And
Yeah. So you didn't retire to help do childcare.
No, I retired to retire.
But he's a great help now.
Yeah.
He is, really.
Well, I've gotten a little bit, and the reason that it's great that you guys came in, I've gotten a little bit of a feeling for your time life schedule as we try to sort of schedule even appointments to get together. I mean, obviously, I come way second or third after the kids.
So don't I.
Right. Okay. So that was your work life. You both had really full careers, and like in your parents' case, Pete, was it similar to Maureen's family? What, like when kids came along, were your parents involved too, or?
Not a lot. No, I don't think so. And they were at that point were living down on Cape Cod. They had moved. We had been in the Boston suburbs, and when all of their children were out, I was one of four. They decided they had loved the Cape and they moved down the Cape, and so they weren't up here a lot. And my parents were probably maybe about 10 years older. Than your mother and father. And so at that point, my father wasn't doing well. And my mother was doing fine. I mean, but never it would come up once in a while to stay with us and the kids, but not like Maureen's mother and father did.
Yeah, that was really lucky. In fact, it's one of the topics that we were talking about. It's actually one of the topics in the book is about this geographic difference. I mean, you were very fortunate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maureen's parents were local. It was easy, a couple of miles, a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
In fact, Maureen, you even, I think one of our last meetings said that your children and your grandchildren are also within easy strike distance.
Right.
All right.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a
Right.
super lucky thing. Now, was
Right.
that all on purpose or by accident?
Kind of both. I mean, my daughter lived in Norwood, which was not very far, but they decided they had wanted to move. So they said to us, are you going to move? Are you going to stay in this area? I said, no, we're staying around. And they said, okay, we'll look in this general vicinity. And they did. They, looked within a few different towns, and they ended up in Norfolk, the same town that we are in.
Yeah,
So.
that couldn't get any more convenient.
Right.
I mean, we deal a
Right.
lot with grandparents that have 3,000-mile trips. I was with
Right.
actually a couple of them on Saturday. One, their daughter is in Manchester, England,
Wow.
with
Wow.
grandchildren.
Yeah.
And the other son is in downtown New York City
Wow.
with grandchildren.
Yeah.
And they live in Westboro, Mass.
Right.
So you can imagine what that's all about.
Right.
I mean, that is
That's
a
tough.
completely different, and it's actually very common. It's
Right.
like super
Yeah,
common.
yeah.
And you have to do all this mathematics.
Right.
They look to
Right.
sell their home and try to move toward one. Both of those locations are like crushing financial locations. To like
Right.
sell your house and get a place in New York or get a place in Manchester. It's
Right.
like, they're both
Right.
crushing. So
Right.
they're like shuttle diplomats,
Right.
They're flying to one place for a month, then they fly
Yeah.
to another place for a month. And it's not exactly the same level of grandparenting. You
Right.
guys seem to be very hands-on. So Peter, you could take a rest for a minute because I'm going to ask Maureen about the schedule because I'm blown away whenever we talk
Yeah.
and we're trying to make a date. So just to sort of give folks a feeling, when I say full-time grandparenting,
Right.
I mean, give me a rundown of the schedule.
Well, this is easy now. This is not hard at all. So a few days a week, I go over and put them on the bus.
So that means that
That's
a few days a
15.
week, you go over like real early in the morning.
Well, not that early. I mean, I'm only there for about an hour. And so I put them on the bus, and then I just get them off the bus, and I take them wherever they have to go, and then I go home. So, and then, their parents, one of the parent or another, typically picks them up from their event.
So neither one of their parents work at home.
Their dad works at home a couple of days a week.
Okay.
And then my daughter's a teacher. So she's home all summer, vacations. And, some afternoons she can be home, early. If she knows she has to be home early, she'll be home early, or she picks them up from the dance or gymnastics or whatever they do.
How about Sean? What's his life schedule like?
Sean has, Sean lives in Connecticut, and he doesn't have any children. He has 2 dogs, which we just babysat.
Which is that easier or harder than?
That's harder.
That's harder.
That's harder. Much harder.
Okay.
So he went to Scotland for vacation, and so we had the dogs for 10 days. That was hard.
So you brought the dogs to you?
To my
you didn't
house,
go to
yeah.
them? Oh, okay.
I figured it would be in our house,
Okay.
So.
Little dog hair vacuums are made.
Oh
for
my
dogs.
gosh, yes, a lot.
Still vacuuming.
It was still vacuuming it up. But that was harder.
Yeah.
I found it, you had to
Well,
be
but
home
you
at a
guys are
certain.
great to help. I mean, you guys have super pitched.
It was earlier morning.
It was earlier mornings than we used to, and
One of them wanted to go out early, and
Right.
so they both went out early every day.
Well, the consequences of not taking them out are not good.
Oh,
No,
they're good, but it wouldn't have been good. But
I've
they were
gotta
both
say,
they were both good.
the dogs were not bad. It's like kind of retraining us. It was, before you go anywhere, you have to think about, okay, I have to feed them. I have to be home at a certain time to take them out. I don't want to be tied down like that,
So neither one of you tried to do full-time grandparenting while you were working. It sounds to me like you didn't do that much grandparenting, Pete, but you just kept working, right?
Right.
And Maureen, it sounds like you decided to back off and
Right. And
work
then,
or whatever.
so, I've watched the kids since they were born. So when they were born, my daughter went back to work. She worked in Boston at the time. So for the oldest one, early on, I would go down there and take care of them. That was real early. From 6, I'd be down there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd stay in the whole day and just take care of a baby.
Wow.
So I did that for 2 days a week, and then when
That's when you were job sharing.
Yes.
So you had 2 days.
Then I retired totally in 2018, and then I took care of the second one full time.
She was
Wow,
born.
that's
in
a huge
2015,
benefit.
yeah.
That's huge.
So they had no daycare other than like preschool. Like one was in preschool and one.
Yeah.
So now that one is in first grade and the other is in 4th grade. I mean, it's easy now. This is easy. This
Now
is
it's
a
like
piece
dance,
of cake.
ballet.
Yeah, it's just
whatever.
where they're extracurricular activities, and I'm lucky. My daughter's off in the summer, and then Peter helps. Like he has to go over, and we have a conflict one day. He goes over and gets the bus one day, and I take the dancer the other day.
So of the things that we talk about, the way grandparents can help kids, I mean, this childcare thing's a big deal. I mean, obviously,
Huge.
you are like superstars in this area.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine how much. Well, number one, it's the economic part, right? You just must have saved them a fortune.
I felt like the best thing that I could give them was my time, because they didn't have to worry. Like if they were, if they were on the train and the train is sitting on the tracks like it used to, like way back when.
Yeah, they both worked in the
They were
city
both
at one
in
time
Boston. They were
early
sitting
on.
on the tracks for
Yeah.
so long,
Right.
some days. And how do you get a daycare? How do you, your daycare, you have to be picked up at a certain time.
Yeah, it's a big economic thing. You probably know just from reading or seeing, like, one of the biggest issues with young families today that slowed them down. I mean, there's a few of them we're going to talk about, but the economic impact of having kids and trying to keep a job and then do childcare is like a big, big financial load, right? But also, they're with their grandmother.
Right. And the other
non-financial part.
The other thing is, even now, that if one of them is sick, like sometimes,
One of the babies, you mean? One of the kids?
Well, no, even like now when they're sick and they don't go to school. I mean, if they're, then you have to call in to work. But they'll say to me, you doing anything today? And it's like, no, between Dad and I, we can, we split if we were, So we just, stay with this sick child, so they don't,
so they don't have to stay home from work.
They don't have to stay home from work.
That's a huge thing. Also, with your own kids, I know you guys are great planners and you've done a lot of stuff. So when Sean and Carrie were growing up, did you sort of get deeply involved in their college education and all that kind of stuff and planning, or did you just like let them figure it out on their own?
Let me think. Well, no, we were pretty involved in it.
We were involved in it. I mean, I think they made their decision what they wanted to do,
of what
which schools they wanted to visit or not visit.
Right.
Had a few drive-bys. I don't like the building.
Well,
it's a very tough time, But we were pretty involved in it.
Yeah,
we were pretty involved.
And you think that dripped down? You think your children are going to be like very pro-education on their kids?
Yeah.
And that's the reason I'm asking. It seems like a lot of these behaviors are multi-generational, right?
Right.
It seems like your parents helped you, so you're helping your kids, and your kids will help their kids.
Right.
And it is almost like a family behavioral thing.
Right.
That the folks who didn't, then they don't help really their kids very much. They expect their kids to be, as 18, you're out the door, you're on your own.
Right. No, I mean, I always felt that, with my parents, I always had a backup. If there was anything that, monetarily or whatever went wrong or whatever, my parents were there to back us up, to help us out. Right? Our kids are the same,
Yeah. How about the housing thing? I mean, with the three big things that Warren Buffett always talks about, and we should listen to him quickly because I don't think we'll be listening to him too much longer. I think he always talks about the things that slow down family formation, and it's like getting married, buying a house, having kids, and a lot of it is just like the financial fears,
Mm-hmm.
So how did you handle it when your kids were like getting to that point where they were about to get their first home and everything? I mean, were you backing them up, as you say?
Well, when the kids got their first, we didn't really, did we back them up? I don't think so.
I think they
kind of did that on their own.
I mean, monetarily, they went into it on their own.
Right.
No assistance from us.
Right. No.
But if they needed it, would you have helped them?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I thought.
Absolutely.
If they needed that extra boost,
Right. Absolutely.
we definitely would have. And
Right.
I think that's something, we've always said to them.
Right.
But they both couples
managed it.
They knew what they could afford. They knew what they had.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And in situations was different. I mean, Sean and his wife Barbara in their first home. Carrie and Jim are basically their second, I'll call it second, third home. Carrie had bought a condo, and then they got married.
Right.
And then they bought a house. They sold the condo. They sold the condo and bought the house in Norwood, and so they had some equity moving along. So they were managing it, and I think both know how to manage money well.
Yeah, they both do well.
That was one thing. Never worrying about. They're flying through cash here, and they shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, this whole thing gets started. And the reason that I bring it up, one of the chapters in the book that I just wrote about that is that I was very fortunate. My father was an old-time Sicilian guy who would say, dummies pay rent and smart people collect rent. And so when he got to the point where I had a job and I was working and I didn't have a home yet, he basically drove me to the first for sale sign in the neighborhood, right? And then rolled off at that time a huge amount of money, like $4,950 he gave me for the first deposit on my first house. Yeah. But it rocketed me into this issue of owning a house. And when my kids came along, I felt like that was a learned behavior. Kids, time to buy a condo, time to buy a house, right? And it is one of those things that gets passed down from parents to grandparents to little kids, So education's big. Where'd the kids go to school? Where did your kids go to school?
Carrie went to Providence College and Sean went to Roger Williams.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Right. And then she went back to Leslie. She got an a master's in education.
Right. I mean, education's huge. I mean, it's a scary thing. I mean, I bet, Pete, because you're a good spreadsheet guy, my guess is you sat down once or twice and figured out, like how old is your oldest grandchild?
10.
10. Yeah. And you've probably done the inflation factor on what that education is going to cost.
It's amazing.
It's frightening, isn't it?
It's scary.
It is when you see the numbers. And I don't remember the exact numbers when Carrie went to Providence and then later on when Sean went to Roger Williams. But by the time they got out, how much it increased just in the the 4 years
Right.
they were
It
there.
Right.
In many
Oh
cases,
yeah,
it doubled.
and
Right.
and then you see the numbers today, and then
Right.
like you said, projecting ahead. What's it going to be when my grandchildren get there?
Right.
It's one of these huge issues, and again, it's one of the things that we talk about with grandparenting, because the good news is that grandparents in that area can be super helpful, because there is no limitation on writing checks to schools. There's no gift tax limitation. There's no, and talk about helping kids when they need it the most. We just
Right.
I had the great pleasure of having my son just graduate from Georgetown, got his graduate degree. I think he paid more for 1 year than my daughter paid for 4 years at Carnegie Mellon or Boston or whatever. I mean, it's frightening amount of money.
Right.
So it's a big issue.
It is.
I know that your parents did a lot of planning. Let's just talk about that for a second. I know it's a big commitment to sit down. We're not the most fun people in the world in the financial industry, to do estate planning and financial stuff. And you guys spent a lot of time. Was that driven because your parents did a lot of planning, financial, estate things in their lives?
My father always had HP stock, and that was his. How would you explain it? That was his.
That was his retirement. I mean,
that was his. I guess he was.
He couldn't speak more about getting it. Like when I started, I didn't start buying it right away as soon as I could have.
You didn't listen to your father-in-law?
No, because to me, I wanted cash for gas money, and to go hang out somewhere. Later when Maureen started, she followed her father's footsteps. She started the stock earlier than I did. But that was her father's side of it. I mean,
right,
really.
That was my father's, and they just worked. My mother and father just worked they worked, and I guess he was very sentimental to his HP stock. That was his.
Well, they were good to him.
Yeah.
They were. I mean,
they
in
were
those
good
days,
to him.
you talk about all the years you spent, at HP Agilent, whatever. I mean, there was a compact between employers and employees. Like
Right.
my dad retired from Hancock after 40 years there, and loves them. Thought they walked on water. They treated them great.
Right.
Medical for life.
Doesn't seem like it exists today when you talk
definitely.
to others.
Yeah.
And
And then is your question about estate planning. I mean, that was much later for them. They did that much later. My brother,
you and your brother were involved.
Kind of pushed that because then my mother her health started failing. So
Well, it's another learned behavior. It's another one of these theme things. Whether you help your kids with childcare or you help your kids with. I mean, what we've found, and this is a little bit of the 50-year sort of rearward-looking history of this.
Yeah.
A lot of the folks that we work with that spend time and invest money doing planning, their parents did.
Right.
And if their parents didn't do any planning and they just blow it off and they don't do any planning, it's kind of like something that drips down in generations.
Right.
So I could tell also, without sort of outing you guys at all, that, you can tell when someone's parents were into it, as they say, they didn't leave a mess. They left at least something with a ribbon on it. Like done.
Right.
And I know you guys have spent a lot of time, and I congratulate you for that.
Well, Peter does more than I do.
Well, so you're a team. Believe me, I've seen who controls the budget and who controls. We have the chancellor of the exchequer, and then we have the planning. All right, so a couple things. It's been like a long time we've known each other and worked together. I mean, you guys have really got a great handle on the whole thing about converting from work life to retirement life. So now you're both fully retired, right? It seems like it's all about the kids, right? Did you have like a lot of other sort of retirement plans that were derailed because the kids came along and you're taking care of them?
No,
Really?
I don't think we did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything or doing, you know what I mean?
We're doing what we enjoy doing.
Yeah, we do, and we do what we want to do, and we do have a freer schedule. I mean, we don't really, it sounds like we do the kids all the time, but we don't, you know what I mean? We have friends that we go to places with and do things with. And I mean, I think we golf a lot. He was just golfing for 3 days. So.
Don't hold that against him.
No, and I do things that I want to do. So it's not like I don't feel like I'm
very
stuck.
small golf clubs, for grandchildren. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see Catherine with a club in her hand.
Yeah, she had a croquet mallet.
She had a croquet mallet yesterday.
Over the
She was good. But
Right.
it is no. But I think it is. We enjoy doing it with the kids. I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm actually in. She didn't give me credit. I'm involved 2 days a week.
Oh,
Yeah.
Not just bus day. I go over and I take the older one to dance.
Yeah, and I take the younger one somewhere.
Because the other one's going somewhere else. But it's sort of it's on our calendar. We know to expect it, and we also know to expect the unexpected. As
Right.
Maureen said, you know, if one of them is sick,
Right.
is not going to school that day, typically Maureen will go over. But then sometimes they'll come to our house and spend time with us.
I feel there is such a bond. I mean, between the kids and us.
Yeah.
I mean, there really is.
it's the best. Isn't it?
There is such a bond. There is, when they see you, when they're so happy to see you, when they just saw you the day
Right,
before,
right.
I'm like,
Right.
I go, they still, happy
Well,
to
you
see us.
probably, I don't know, you must hear this from your friends, but I'm just going to tell you, I mean, you probably sort of have some idea of how great it's worked out for you compared to other people. I just talked to somebody on Sunday, which was really funny. Long-term client, everybody becomes friends with her. So I got this phone call, and it was Mother's Day, and people are all calling and texting and congratulating her. So anyway, this person that I've known for a long period of time, she calls up and was talking to my wife, Linda, and said, literally in one sentence, my daughter is pregnant. That's the end of ever going to Florida. That summed up. That's exactly what I'm talking about, is they had their entire retirement life engineered around being here, a couple months a year,
Right.
but then going to Florida.
Right.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
That's it. That's done. We
Yeah.
won't be away in the winters anymore. Well, maybe for the next 4 or 5 years. I don't know. But, in your case, it just seemed like, whether you did it by accident or on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Nothing actually got upended or changed. We had some.
No, I mean, we have the Cape too.
We have,
So we
we
get
have
on
a
the
second
Cape.
home, on the Cape. And
they come down here.
but just getting ready for retirement, we never said, "Oh, we want to do this." We want to. I know some people want to travel,
Oh, my gosh.
and we would like to get away. We do like to get away when we get a chance to do that. But it wasn't set that these things need to be accomplished. To us both, I think family came first.
Right.
Well, it's a great. I will tell you. In your case again, see, some people that are good at it don't really realize how good they are because you don't get to hear about other stuff. But I get to leak these things, after watching.
Yeah.
I will just tell you, I have a family. It's really kind of cute. It's a story, but their goal in life was to get a place in Amelia Island, Florida. Worked hard, like a lot of our hardworking families, and bought this place and moved down to Amelia Island, Florida, and they were there for 3 years. And then their daughter in Worcester had twins.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And I say to everybody, it's really easy to vaporize about $100,000 when you sell your home like in Newton or Needham, move to Florida, then sell your home in Amelia Island and move back.
Right.
And you can just imagine. But it was the right thing to do. And it just happened to be that, it upended what they thought was going to be their retirement plan, because really family was the most important thing.
Right.
And they didn't even think that they could enjoy going there or living there anymore.
Right.
Right.
Right. I
So they
mean, you
blew it
miss
up.
them. You do. You miss them when we don't see them for
Right.
a while. Like,
When we end up even going down the Cape in the summer, and we may, we're probably at that point lucky to see them twice a month or 3 times a month, and it just
you miss them.
It's
you go, wonder
downtime.
what
You're
they're
just
doing.
like,
Wait till they become teens. They're only going to want to be on in the
Right.
Cape all summer long.
Oh,
Right,
You won't be able to get rid of
right.
them.
Right. And they're in camps. They go to different
Yeah.
camps and stuff like that. So they have a ton of friends, and so they do a lot of stuff, So, but I go, I wonder what they're doing today,
Well, from a super successful grandparent standpoint, what would you do differently, if anything? And there's like the big 3. There's the big 3 questions that we always hear. Number 1, would you have worked longer, retired earlier, okay? Or would you have actually, I think I know the answer to this, relocated or located to a different sunny climate or something? What would you have done? Is there anything you would have done differently?
I wouldn't have relocated.
You go first.
Okay. I wouldn't have relocated. I wouldn't have retired earlier. And I mean, I think I retired at the right time. I don't know
Yeah,
about you.
Probably a similar answer. I wouldn't have relocated. I wasn't thinking of that. I mean, to me, even with my own family, always been close. I had a couple of sisters that moved away, but they all came back, that type of thing. I might have worked longer. I don't know. I mean, there were things I liked about my work, and there were things I didn't like about my work. But I was working from home, so I couldn't beat it. I mean, the last 15 years, I was working out of my basement office. What I did miss was people contact, daily. But I don't know whether I would have worked longer or not. The time was right when I left. And I think what was the third question I missed? I don't know.
Well, it's a relocation.
Earlier. I wouldn't have gone. Probably wouldn't have gone earlier.
Yeah, you guys are maybe fortunate by accident, but I mean, we have a lot of relocating grandparents, and they used to call them helicopter, grandparents, whatever. And unfortunately, it's because the mobility of some jobs, I mean,
right.
Especially in technology, a little bit about this. I have somebody who just got, a nice big fat bonus, but they have to live in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're from here. And they just uprooted the whole family and for the job and and now they're living in Texas. And it's really stressful. I think and it's temporary. I think, in fact, I talk to them all the time. It's like, they're like, they've got a prison countdown calendar, It's
right,
like,
right.
There. Yeah. So I think whether it was on purpose or by accident, the geography worked out great for you guys. And geography is a huge thing to overcome.
Right. It's just all convenient, it's very, and even Sean being, in Connecticut, that's only an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half. So we get down there and, he comes down. He was just up yesterday and, we get down.
Right.
When you can do it in the same day, it's easy.
Right. Yeah. It's not, you don't consider it's like you're not hopping on a
plane. So if you're talking
to
your own kids, and their children, hopefully you'll get to see this because you'll be great grandparents. And if you're talking to your own kids about like preparing to be grandparents, when like this phone call I got on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell them? What's like the most important things you learned, right? Advice things about upcoming grandparency.
I don't know. I would just say, just be not available, but
try to help.
Yeah, just help.
Well, it's that expression that people always say, be there for them, It's an expression.
Right.
But I think it kind of says it.
Right.
I know our daughter and our son-in-law fully appreciate.
Right.
What Maureen does more daily than I do.
I mean, there's not a day that, whenever I leave, she said, thank you, I appreciate whatever you do. I mean, she says it to me almost every day. She says, thank you, I appreciate it all. She goes and she doesn't have to worry, you know what I mean? She doesn't worry about whatever happens during the day, it's like.
Well, she, as an educator, she'll probably have, she's young, right?
Yeah.
So, but she's probably going to have one of those great choices to make in a few years, whether she keeps going with the teacher retirement system or gets out a little early when maybe that time comes along.
Right. Right.
So there is an employment and work decision that gets made. There's a geographic thing that kind of gets, put together.
Right. And I always, say to her, just whatever you need, just tell me. I don't want to be hovering either. You know what I mean? Just whatever you need, just tell me what you need and, I can work it out.
Yeah. I tell you, economic help is always like, the first thing that comes to everybody's mind. And I know you guys are very generous like that. Yeah. And the sports thing, Peter, I have to tell you, what's interesting, we hear from so many like grandparents, especially about helping out on the cost of, like, I don't remember my parents ever having to pay for sports, whether it was football or
right.
But I guess it's like a really big tab. If in fact you have very athletic kids and are playing 3 or 4 sports, like lacrosse seems to be a scheme to take $600 a year from parents.
Yeah, Sean was a lacrosse player.
Oh, was he? Yeah. All right, so you were through some of this.
Right.
And this dance is pretty.
Oh yeah, dance.
Dance. Yeah. My daughter did some of that.
Yeah, well, our daughter did, and our 2 granddaughters do. So I can only imagine what's in storage boxes, of all. We had my daughter's stuff for the longest time, and like, why are we keeping this, But don't have it now. But yeah, it is. All those things are expensive.
Costumes.
And I think the best thing that, for us, sports, and the other thing this is, not as a grandparent, but I tried to help, in sports, like many fathers and mothers do, coaching or assisting and things like that. That was a fun time too. And if I could do it for the grandkids, I'd do it for the grandkids.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah.
If they wanted an old guy hobbling around.
I'm not doing those recyclables.
Yeah, we did recyclables. Yeah.
Well, you guys are
the
great.
awfulest job we
I think that you, again, and I appreciate you taking your time to come in and just talk about this, because you guys, you are in that like superstar grandparent category, because you seem to have worked out the economic part, the employment part. You just got lucky. The big guy up there must like you about the geography, right?
Well, and I always say to people, I feel like I'm very fortunate, because I feel like economically I can do this, and health-wise we can do it.
Right.
So I feel that we're very fortunate that we have both, that, we don't have to work forever, and we're healthy enough to enjoy it with them. And
well, I am going to give you a plug before we sign off, because, this podcast is about planning. And I have to say, things have worked out well. But I would say that you have made, I don't know how many meetings we've had over the years, but you guys have made a significant amount of time in your schedule to fit in planning, to make sure that things work out great for them, which I think might have dripped down a little bit from your parenting.
Yeah, my parents were great.
Right?
I mean, my parents and Peter's parents were too.
Yeah, and so
but both of our foundations that we had as families, as for parents, were good foundations that we had from families.
Right.
It's got to feel good. I mean, it has to feel good. I mean,
I think I think we're both, as a couple, we're better off than both our parents were.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Financially we are. We've done, through the planning we've done.
But it also, it's feels good to just have a ribbon on it. I mean, I can't tell you how many ways people have expressed that, over the years. In fact, it just feels like no matter what happens, things are going to come up. They're going to come up, right? But no matter what, you sort of tidied it up and you have a ribbon on it, and you can just enjoy your life and work on your golf game and
it's a lot of work.
Go to dance recitals.
Right. I started with golf. I have to go back and take a few more lessons.
Well, it's one thing you can do
me.
with your kids long term. I will notice. I've noticed. So I went skiing with my son, who's now 28, and it took me like an hour to catch up to him. Right.
Yeah.
However, I do see a lot of grandparents golfing and keeping up with their grandkids. Golfing's a little more manageable, I think, than some of the other sports activities.
Right.
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 Yeah, I think, it's kind of interesting seeing the two little ones grow up too. They have different interests.
Yeah, and they have different personalities.
Yeah,
they're so cute.
All right, guys, thanks. I'm going to sign off,
you.
And I'm going to thank everybody for tuning in to one of our editions of these Superstar Grandparents. Thank the McDermotts, and I'll see you again next time on Smart Financial.